Now we're going to get back into making the server better. So we have our two test clients continuously sending messages to the server, but we haven't got the server actually sending any of the messages that client 1 sends back to client 2. Now I haven't got this fully mapped out in my mind yet, but there's a few pieces that will make this work. So one piece I'll show you is this. So this is in the Trio docs. It's nurseries and spawning. So in the Trio way of thinking of things, a nursery is a group of tasks that all can run at the same time together. Now, currently we haven't really got multiple tasks running at the same time in our server, but what we actually will need to do is end up with a set of tasks all running at the same time. And what I'm thinking of is basically having one task, so two tasks running for each connection. So one task that waits for messages to be sent, from one task that waits to send messages to the connection, and one task that just sits there receiving messages from the connection. So to be able to run multiple tasks at once, you can do this nursery.startSoon and you give it a function. So this is where we are going to hopefully get to. The second piece of functionality is this. So it's channels, it's a memory channels. So what you can do with a memory channel is that you can send, you can pass a value, a variable in Python from one running task to another running task. And so this will be needed for one of the receiving loops to send the message, to broadcast that message out to all the other sending loops. Okay, so let's see what I mean. So if we go back to the server here, during the startup, what we really need to do is we need to make a list of all the senders. So senders equals, and I'm just going to make it an empty list. Okay, and now we actually want to create a nursery as well. So with trio.open nursery as nursery, and then we will start up this this function, the listener. But we need to pass into the function here, the connection function, the nursery and the senders. So when a connection is made, this function here has the nursery to kick off the sending task, and also has the sender list to create all the senders needed. So this function actually needs two more variables passed in. So sender list and also the nursery. Now to be able to pass them in, this function that gets called will always just be called with one argument called the stream. But what we can do is we can actually redefine that function with the extra arguments. So I can say def redefined connection, and I will say stream, so it passes in the stream, and then it calls connection with the stream, and then it passed the sender list equals the senders, and the nursery equals the nursery. Okay. And then instead of calling the connection one, we actually call this redefined connection. So now our redefined connection function gets called with the stream, and it adds in these extra variables that we want to send, and they get passed through here. Okay, so now let's define a new function, async def sender. And so the sender, what it's going to do is it's going to, whenever it receives a message, it will send that message out to its stream. So we'll pass in the stream, the connection, and we also need to pass in some sort of way for it to receive the messages that are being sent. So what I'm going to pass in here, and this is the second piece that we talked about, the memory channel. So I'm going to call it channel here. For now, I'm just going to say pass. So when a connection comes in, we need to make one of these memory channels. So what we'll do is we'll have a look at the docs here. So when you do an open memory channel, you give it a size, a buffer size, and then what it returns is a send channel and a receive channel. And I'll show you how these work. So we'll say send channel, receive channel equals trio.open memory channel. And for this, I'm just going to say 0. So there's no buffering at all in these channels. To send something, it needs to be received on the other side. Okay, so we open the memory channel. And then with our nursery, what we're going to say is nursery.start soon. So that's like this, nursery.start soon, and we can pass in a child, which is the function to call, and then we can pass other arguments just by putting commas in and sending them that way. So we'll call the sender, and what we're going to pass into the sender is our receive channel. So the receive, when we want to send a message, we send it to the send channel and the receive channel receives it. Cool, so we start up the sender, and we also need to pass in our stream, sorry. So we'll pass the same stream that we're using here to the sender. Okay, so what does the sender do? Well, while true, so basically running forever, channel dot, and this is with the channel here. So when you have the memory channel, it's going to get a memory receive channel. It will do an await receive, so that'll give it one message. So we will say message equals channel dot receive. Oh, sorry, we need to say await receive. And then with the stream, it's going to do a send all of the message. And that's it. It just basically waits to receive any messages from the memory channel, and then it'll send them all off. And the key thing here is that it will start looping, but it'll just sit here waiting, basically. And then it'll send off the message. And we also need to await this. But while it's waiting, it's not going to stop other things from running. Okay, so we've started it up, but we also need to do something with the send channel. So what do we do with the send channel? Well, we have our sender list here. So what we will do is in our sender list, sender list dot append, we'll append the send channel. And now, whenever a message is received, we just need to send a message to every send channel in the sender list, and that will get sent out to all of the people listening. So when we receive a message here, this is our loop where we're receiving messages, what we can say is for sender in sender list sender, and so this sender is going to be the send channel. Let's have a look at what we call there. So what we do here is we say await send, so we send the value. Await sender.send message, and so we'll send the message that we received. Now, there's almost certainly going to be bugs here, so let's give it a shot and see what we hit. Okay, so first of all, we need to do an async with. That's at line 45, I believe. Yes, use async with Open Nursery, not with Open Nursery. Okay, so because it's an asynchronous function, we need to do async with. Oh, and actually, I see that we need to do an async def there, and we also need to await this guy. Because this one is an asynchronous function, we need to call it with await, and we need to call awaits from asynchronous function. So, okay, let's give it another shot. Okay, it says, hi there, I'm starting up. And then at line 13 in connection, we get local variable sender reference before assignment. Oh, sorry. So I need to first of all say the function I want to call, and then say the values I want to pass in. So sender is the name of the function. Then we give it the stream, and we give it the receive channel. It says it's not defined, but I can see it earlier. So let's just try that again and see if we get the same error. Huh. Okay, I've found the problem. So you can see that the word sender that we use here is defined up here, but I also redefine it later in the function. So you're not allowed to use the same different name for different things. So what I'll say is for send channel in sender list, send channel dot send. And I might just say send chan, just because actually I do use the name send channel up there as well. Um, and that way we don't end up with this error about the function being redefined. So let's try that again. Okay, so it starts up. We call hi, how are you? So these are the messages coming in from our little sending bots. And you can see that they're now actually receiving messages, but it's not super clear. So let's actually just tweak the test client to show what's happening here. So what we'll print is, instead of just saying print received messages, we'll say print received and then the received message. Okay, so let's kill these and restart the test clients. And what we actually saw was we don't have any error handling in the server at the moment. So you can actually see that we immediately crashed the server just by disconnecting a client. So that's something we'll need to address, but let's see what we've got. So if we start the server up, hi there, I'm starting up. So this guy gets a message, hi there, what is your name? He sends the name. The server says, hi there, testbot. And then he sends, how are you? And then he received, how are you? Then he's sending, I like pizza. And he received, how are you? Sending, hi there. He received, I like pizza, how are you? So he's got multiple messages back in a single receive loop. And you can see that the same thing is going on here. This guy is also sending messages and receiving messages. Now we actually can see that there's a bit of a bug here. One is that we're receiving back the same the same what like we're receiving back the message we send as well as the messages that other people are sending. So look, let's just make a couple of little fixes here. So one thing is we probably don't need to say print anymore in the test client that we're sending a message. Instead, let's just send it. Okay. The other thing is, let's say we'll import another module called sys, and then we'll say my name equals sys.argv number one. So argv is the arguments that are called on the command line, and that will allow us to set the name differently for each test client. So instead of just calling them all testbot1, what we can do is we can say name equals my name dot encode, and now what I'm doing is encoding it because it will by default be a string, and so I'm encoding it into a byte string. And then what we'll do is we'll send here the name plus a new line. Okay, so now they're not all going to be the same name. So what we do here is we say Python test client, and then we'll say this is CL1, so that's going to be client number 1. Let's start up the server again. So now this one says, hi there, CL1. And this one will still be the same one. So we'll also say this one can be CL2. Start up the server again because they got disconnected and need to reconnect. Okay, so that's started up and running. And so now you can see that they're sending messages, but they're not printing that they're sending messages. And now they're receiving messages as well. Now, one other thing is when we receive our messages here now, we probably want to send them, but we also want to send them with a new line appended. So let's do that. And so I'll kill and restart the server. And these should both disconnect and reconnect in a moment. Yep, got disconnected, reconnecting. Cool, so you can see now, received hi there, received I like pizza. And now they're receiving the double entries. Interestingly, the message is not actually being decoded from a byte string, so we can make the printing of that a bit nicer. The new line's not actually getting processed, it's just getting shown to us. So what we can actually do is when we receive the message here, we can say received message equals received message dot decode. So that'll decode it from bytes into a string, and then it'll just interpolate the string in here. So let's try that on one of these. And I'll just kill them both. So you can see now that it says, received hi there, and these are actual strings. It doesn't have the whole byte string B in front. The other thing that we can make a bit nicer here is we can actually say the name of the message, the name of the sender here. So we could say username, because we capture for each receiver, each connection here, the username. So we'll say username plus colon space and then the message. So when we send a message to all the other users, we can actually say who the username that sent that was. And that will make it a bit nicer. So let's restart the server with that. Okay, so these two have got disconnected and they're reconnecting. Okay, so now you can see that, this one says received CL1, hi there, received CL2, how are you, etc. Let's go to the test client and let's just take out this received now. We probably don't need that. And that will just make it a bit more obvious that we've got the two different users sending it. So let's start this one up again and restart the server. And I'll kill and restart this one and restart the server. And we should get two connections. And we should now start to see the receives coming through. So CL2, I like pizza. Now let's experience this as an actual user instead of with just our test bots. So if we do nc localhost 9876, so we're connecting up as an interactive user here now. Okay, so we connect up and it says, hi, what is your name? And I'll say Jay, and it says, hi there, Jay. And I can say, hello, bots. And it says, Jay said, hello, bots. And you can see that, these ones are coming through. That one's saying, I like pizza. That one's also saying, I like pizza. How are you? and then I can say boo, and you can see it sends through Jay said boo. So we have it's somewhat working here. We've still got some issues. We obviously, every time something goes wrong, we crash the whole server, and that's not ideal. We also, um, while a user is typing, we actually can spit out messages over the top of them, and there's not much we can actually do about that with sort of this netcat client, because the way it works is it just shows immediately data that it receives. The other thing that we could make a bit better is to actually not send back the user's own messages to themselves. So, if I say hello, it says Jay said hello, and I say hi there, and it says Jay said hi there. I'm sending messages back to myself. But we could solve those in the future potentially.